Hey guys, what's going on? It's me, Greg Marshall. Today I want to talk to you about warming up your audience in a very specific way. So this is how we like to use video marketing. Is I typically recommend business owners when they're trying to think of different ways and different ideas to talk about when it comes to, well, when I do video marketing, what do I say? When should I do this video versus that video? Or flat out, many business owners just have no idea where to even begin or where to start. And they kind of get paralyzed by trying to figure out ideas on what to talk about. And here's a great place to start. And you should almost look at these as like videos that you would want to be running forever, using them on your website, using them in your ads, using them in as many places as you possibly can, right? So here's what I recommend you do. Write down a list of like the top 5 to 10 objections that you get anytime you're trying to sell your stuff. And this is particularly for service-based businesses, right? If you're doing phone calls or you have to basically convince somebody to pay you. Make 5 to 10 video, or write a list, 5 to 10 different objections that you commonly get, right? Then the next thing what you want to do is each one of those objections, you want to go in depth and make like a 3 to 5 minute video of each one and how your product or service can essentially overcome whatever that objection is. So let's say the objection is like, I don't know if this will work for my company. Well, you would make a video that's like, a lot of business owners believe X, Y, Z, or whatever service you're selling. A lot of them believe this, but here's why it works, right? Or let's say another one's like, financial. I don't know if I can afford it. Well, that's a common one. And what you basically want to talk about is, here's why you can't not afford it, right? Because of X, Y, Z, the benefits you would get, how much money you're actually losing by the opportunity of not doing it versus actually doing it, right? The next thing would be, you create a list of all these objections, you make a video for each one. And then what you want to do, if you really want to take your video marketing to the next level, is then each one of those videos, you would want to come up with like 3 to 5 sub videos of that objection, right? So like, let's say you're explaining a concept of, let's say someone says, I don't know if I can lose weight with your program, right? So you would say, that's one large video. Then you could make subsets of that, right? An example of other people who've lost weight using your technique. Maybe a testimonial of someone doing losing weight with this technique. Then maybe you can go into the mechanics of it, right? How did they eat to lose this weight? And how does it apply to the strategy you're using? Et cetera, right? So you take all of those ideas and objections that you have, and then you make subtopics on each one of those objections, and you keep doing that over and over and over again. And your goal is to try to have 10, 15, 20, 30 different videos for each objection, right? And then with that objection videos, you use them everywhere, and you use them often, especially on your website, so it could actually help nurture and get people to be closer to the finish line when you actually talk to them. Because I hear from business owners when they're like, yeah, I'm talking to people, but it's almost like education based. They're asking me education type questions of like, okay, what is it exactly you do? And how does this work? And what I know is this frustrates lots of people who are trying to sell over the phone or in person, because they feel like they should have did their research or homework already, which we all know most people don't do their homework anyways, unless we help guide them, right? And so if you want to have less questions about that and more questions about, how do we work together, and, what are the terms, and what are the, just setting up the tone of working together, then really focus on making these videos and think them through, right? A lot of times when I'm talking to business owners and I look at, they may say like they're doing some type of video marketing or they're doing some kind of advertising using video. It's usually like they have like one video, 1 or 2 videos that they made, and they're really relying on those 1 or 2 videos to like do everything. And what they fail to realize is that is nowhere near enough to get the results that you want. You have to do significantly more, and it has to be well thought out. If you want to make your life easier and have things happen a little bit more smoothly and more systematic, then you really want to invest in this, because this is one of the best things you can do in order to get better results, have your target customer know more about what you offer, right? And why it's actually beneficial to them, instead of just, if they never hear how you deal with overcoming objections, they never kind of see your personality, hear your tone of voice, understand your philosophy, know what all your core values are and why you hire the way you hire and why you do things the way you do, you're missing out on a big advantage, because everyone else really doesn't do that. And if you just take the time to invest in doing that for your business, you will have an edge against your competitors. So one of the things you got to think about is, if you want to have better success with your marketing, especially if you're in a competitive space, you have to be willing to do things that your competitors are not willing to do. And in this case, for most service-based businesses, they are not willing to go the next step or the extra mile to create the videos that they should be creating, because they're too fixated on, I need this to work fast, immediate. And it's kind of like, this is the analogy I like to use, is many times marketers, business people focus on the ads, and they're focusing on like the equivalent of if you were playing baseball and you're just saying, I need to hit a home run, I need to hit a home run, I need to hit a home run. And that's all you're talking about, and that's all you're doing. 9 times out of 10, if not 10 out of 10, being a former baseball player, you're not hitting that home run. And the reason is not because you can't do it, it's because you're focusing on the wrong thing. You're not focusing on the process that gets you to hit the home, right? The preparation of, sitting down and working on, how do you read pitchers? How do you know a pitch is coming? How do I make sure your swing is practiced enough over time where it becomes second nature, so you don't have to think when you're at the plate? That's similar to in business, and when you're marketing, you want to be thinking about, how do I do my repetitions in the sense where I'm really thinking through my strategy, I'm really thinking through my content, I'm really thinking through my distribution, I'm really thinking through every little step, so that when you actually do run the ads and you are running paid advertisements, it works smoothly, right? It works like a system, and it's not like a panic move. And so that's really what you want to focus on. So video marketing, warm up your audiences. Start with making videos that help overcome objections. And if you really want to make them work, add some value to the actual videos as well. So not only say like, people think that you can't do X, Y, and Z with our product or service, and here's why. Then follow it up with, and here's a few tips you can use right away, right now, to be able to get the result that you want. Just by doing that will position you as the expert, because then they'll also see, not only is he trying to convince or persuade me that his product or service can actually help me, but then he actually gave me something where I could get a benefit from, right? And so that's a big advantage that you can use. So if you're planning on using video marketing and you kind of get stuck with what ideas or what should I talk about or how should I talk about it, you are the expert in your field, right? Whatever service you're offering, you're the expert. So you should have unlimited information and knowledge on how to address some of these concerns. And so start with displaying your expertise and helping, creating overcoming objection type videos. And that will be tremendously helpful for your overall success with your campaigns. So if you ever need help with any of this stuff, visit our website, fituremarketing.com, book a call with us, or leave a comment below. But this is something that we help companies with all the time. And hopefully you found some good value on this video. And I look forward to talking to you shortly.